Hey guys, it's been a long time. So I've actually been pretty busy, so I haven't really made any content recently, and um, I've just been slowly enjoying Inazuma. Recently, I've had enough time to pretty much complete the two new islands of Inazuma, so I'm basically 100% complete in Seirai Island, and I'm missing a few chests in Watasumi Island, but basically everything else is complete. I've gotten all of the Electro Oculus as well. The current max statue level, I believe, is level 9 with one extra. Yeah, so that's where I'm currently at, level 9 with one extra. Um, I've basically also maxed out the tree to its current max level at level 30. So let me go to that and show you guys. So level 30, I can't offer anymore. It doesn't let me. I have a lot saved up as well. So basically, I'm finished with the Inazuma content, at least for now. Oh, there are still a few things I need to do. I still got the daily quest for Neko, and I still can talk to the grand lady in the granny in Watasumi Island for her fortune. So today, while I'm just getting this done in the background, I want to talk about teams for the Raiden Shogun. So currently I'm using Raiden Shogun, Zhongli, Fischl, and Xingqiu. But I was originally thinking of switching Fischl out for Sara. And so then I raised up Sara. I didn't really look into her beforehand. I assumed she was pretty similar to Bennett, but instead of using your Q to buff, you're gonna be using your elemental skill and your Q, so it would have more uptime, even though Bennett's uptime is basically almost 100% anyways. But um, Sarah's the electro equivalent. So I raised up Sara. I got her to level 90. And then I gave her a few artifacts that I had lying around. It isn't perfect, but she was a bit underwhelming. And I looked more into her skill, and I find that she requires much more micromanagement, and she actually isn't even much better. She might do more damage if you build her correctly, but I did not, or I don't have the artifacts right now to build her. So I guess let me explain. With Fischl, all you do is throw down Oz, and you're on your way. There isn't much micromanagement. And then if Oz is down, you could use your elemental burst to bring them back up on the field. And then if you just alternate between Fischl's elemental burst and her elemental skill, Oz basically has 100% uptime more or less. And he does quite a bit of damage. And I'll show Fischl's talent later, showing how she synergizes pretty well with the Raiden Shogun and Xingqiu, but Sara has none of that. So the problem with Sara, one moment, let me finish this. I wasn't really reading. I guess I need to make the new recipe. There's no cooking location here, is there? Okay. So Bennett's let's first compare before showing her in the Raiden Shogun team. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Am I blind or something? Why do I? Is it this one? Here it is. Okay, so let's first compare, instead of talking about teams, let's first compare her as an individual character to Bennett. So I guess, okay, so her main like support skill, because unless you're using her for damage, I don't have the build for that, so I wouldn't know how strong she actually is for damage. But I'll show you the constellation as well. It doesn't really help. But first, here is her main the main support skill that I would be comparing to Bennett. So when she uses her E, she gets this aura for, or she gets this cover, crow feather cover for 18 seconds, which allows her to fire a fully charged aim shot and leave a little ball, or like a little small ball on the ground. And then after about a second, it explodes, and everyone within, so the active character, that, so here's what I want everyone to pay attention to: the active character. So the active character that's in the explosion range will get an attack boost based on Sara's base attack. So I gave her Sacrificial Bow, which has the highest base attack for a 4-star, at least, not including the, I believe it's called Alley Flash or whatever, but basically Sacrificial will have generally the highest base attack, obtainable base attack for a 4-star. So, and she's at level 90, so this is actually the max base attack that she'll get with the 4-star weapon. So it's, what is it, 760 base attack, which is pretty good. If you raise up the skill, your attack bonus ratio goes up, which is pretty good. It's same with Bennett. But here's the thing, the attack bonus duration is only 6 seconds, and it only applies to the character that is currently out. So let me show an example of that. So let's say I switch out Official for Sara. So Sara, also, just so I get this out of the way, her Constellation 2, when she uses, I don't know what that sound is in the background. I'll wait till it's over, then I'll cut it out. Okay, it looks like the sound is over. So I would like to talk about, so you're probably, I want to get this out of the way since you're gonna see it when I showcase Sara. So her Constellation 2, unleashing Tengu Stormcall, which is her E, will leave a weaker crow feather at Kujo Sara's original position, and that will deal 30% of its original damage, so that explosion. So without the Constellation, it won't leave anything. So here is her Constellation 2. It leaves that little ball, which explodes, and you see it explodes basically after a second. And then you shoot it. This is original E, explodes after a second. Sara is the only one who gets that buff. So wait until it wears off. So it wore off 6 seconds. So it was fairly short. So she has 1491 attack, and then let me show off the Raiden Shogun with 2424 attack. So remember this number, 2424 and 1491. So when this explodes, Sara has 21 or 2046, so 2046 attack. Raiden Shogun still has 2424 attack, so it didn't apply to the entire team. It only applied to the active character that's out. Let me show this again. So switch to the Raiden Shogun. Now she has 2980. 2980, and then it didn't apply to these two. So he still has 1200. He still has 18. So if you switch characters, see, so no attack buff, and then now it just wore off. So she's back. So as you can see, now the attack buff wore off. So that is one issue I have. One, it lasts only 6 seconds. So you have a really short span of time to actually make use of that buff. And two, it only buffs the moment of the explosion. So that explosion. Afterwards, no matter which character you switch to, they don't get the buff. And it only applies to that one character. Meaning, let's just say in this team. Meaning, if I were to use her buff, the next character I have to switch to would be my my main DPS right away, which here would be the Raiden Shogun. And only she will have the buff. Everyone else on the team does not get the buff. And then it only lasts 6 seconds. Raiden Shogun, let's say you wanted to use it with her Q. Her Q lasts 7 seconds. Yes. Kujo Sara, let's say her buff lasts 6 seconds. Let's say 7 seconds because of that initial 1 second wait. But the 1 second wait would be mitigated when you use her Q. That's literally like 2 or 3 seconds right there. So basically you really only get Kujo Sara's attack boost on the Raiden Shogun for like the initial 3 or so seconds, 3-4 seconds of her Q, which isn't much. So that already puts me off. And because you have to switch to your main DPS literally right after you use her E or her attack boost, because like I said, it's not an aura. You have to be in the explosion with the character that you want the attack buff on. So you can't make use of this book right here, Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayers. It's literally the universal book that's so often used everywhere because it just literally gives you a straight up attack boost. But you have to, the next character switching, the new character taking the field. Meaning, if I were to want to stack the buffs, I can't with Sara, because if I were to use Sara's buff, then switch to say Mona with, or let's switch to say, where is she? Barbara with the Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer. Barbara, the explosion would happen and Barbara would be the one who gets Sara's buff, which isn't what you want. And then you switch to your main DPS, which your main DPS will only get the Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer and not Sara's buff. So you see how it doesn't synergize well. And instead, if you were to switch to Sara, use her buff, then switch to your DPS to get the buff, and then switch to, say, Barbara to get the Thrilling Tales, and switch back to your DPS, you've basically wasted half of Sara's attack buff already. So it doesn't really work well. So she has to be the character right before your main DPS if you want to use the buff. And this is why I think she doesn't even hold a candle to Bennett, where his Q basically lasts 12 seconds. His cooldown's 15. It's 3 second downtime, not much. His attack bonus ratio, whatever, you can get Sara's up there when you raise her skills, which I haven't. But she doesn't hold a candle to Bennett, because as long as you're in this duration, you get that attack bonus. So no matter which character you switch to, you get the attack bonus. It synergizes well with stacking other attack bonus, for example, the Thrilling Tales, or basically everything else. Anything. You can even switch to Zhongli and throw a shield on and you're just fine. You don't have any issues. It basically applies to everyone all the time. So that's probably the biggest issue I have with Sara. Maybe if the attack duration was double, like 12 seconds, I might be able to make use of it. Because right now at 6 seconds, raising it up does not raise up or does not increase the duration. So yeah, yes, she has more ways of proccing her attack boost. For say there's already 2 with Constellation 2, you throw one down when you use her E, and then you charge shot right after, and that throws another one down. But she has to be on the field to throw it down. And then her Q releases with Constellation. What is it? Constellation 4. Her Q releases. Her Q also releases the explosion thing. Without the Constellation 4, you're only releasing 4, but with Constellation 4, you're releasing 6. But same thing, it explodes after a second, and that's it. You have to be right after using her Q. You'd have to switch to a main DPS, and then you have to make use of that. And again, it only lasted 6 seconds. So and also her attack buff doesn't stack. Maybe if like all 6 stacks on top of each other, then maybe that might have been like a niche, but it doesn't. The attack boost does not stack, and the duration is determined by the last Tengu Jurai to take effect. Basically, still 6 seconds. The Tengu Jurai only lasts 6 seconds. This one only lasts 6 seconds. So no matter what the last one that applied is, it's still only gonna last 6 seconds. So you're not gonna have much time. So if you were to use Sara, it requires a lot more micromanagement, and you have to play it a very specific way. There isn't really any other way around it. Let's see. Is there anything else? Yes, she gives energy, which is nice, but let's go through her constellations, and then I'll talk about the Raiden Shogun team with Fischl instead, and why I think that works much better. So her Constellation 1, when let's see, when Tengu Jurai grants characters attack bonuses or hits opponents, the cooldown of her elemental skill is decreased by 1 second, can be triggered every 3 seconds. So it just gets her elemental skill back faster. I already talked about Constellation 2. It leaves 1 extra ball when you use her elemental skill. Constellation 3 is just raising up 3 levels. Constellation 4 I talked about. It gives her Q 6. It drops down 6 of those balls instead of 4. Constellation 5 is just 3 levels. And then Constellation 6, Constellation 6 was probably the biggest boost, but considering how I have to use her, I don't think it's worth it. The elemental damage of characters who have this attack increase, who have their attack increased by Tengu Jurai, has its crit damage increased by 60%. So yes, during that 6 seconds, assuming, let's say you use it in the Raiden Shogun team, the Raiden Shogun would, during that 6 seconds, you also get a 60% damage increase, crit damage increase, which isn't bad. But with the amount of micromanagement, I don't think it's worth it, and it doesn't apply to your entire queue. Like I said, if the duration of the attack boost was, say, 12 seconds, though twice this, I might have been able to make it work. But with only 6 seconds and how inflexible it is, I don't think she is a very good support character. So basically that I have to switch, and then basically I have to attack right away. I literally can't switch to any other character. I have to prepare, like, say I have to use Zhongli's E first, I have to use Xingqiu's Q, assuming I use this team. And then I have to switch to Sara, and then I have to burst. And then that's basically my rotation. If you were to use this team. Let me show off her Q as well. So there you go. That's basically it. Within that area, you get attack boost. There's not much to it. So now let me show you my current Raiden Shogun team and what I prefer over Sara. Sarah's kind of, I guess I regret raising her up, but then again, if I didn't raise her up, I wouldn't have looked into her. So I like Fischl more with Xingqiu. These two are the reason why I like this team. So let me explain why. First of all, if you really wanted that attack boost that Sara gives, I suggest Bennett. Just straight up better. Even though he's not Electro, his Q is just god tier. Of course, if you had Constellation 1, it makes him literally god tier. But otherwise, let's use Fischl. So the reason why I would use Fischl or Sara is because I need the double or the resonance. First of all, let's talk about the resonance and why I built the team the way I did. So elemental resonance, double electro. So superconduct, overload, electrocharge have a 100% chance to generate an electro elemental particle, cooldown 5 seconds. So this increases basically free energy. It's it gives you electro energy, so that gives you your elemental burst for electro characters much faster. So these two, and you want to use your elemental burst for the Raiden Shogun. You see that ring around her? That is her resolve. It makes her Q basically way stronger. So let's talk about Fischl. And the reason why I think Fischl is better than Sara in the Raiden Shogun team in every way. Even though I don't have an attack buff, her talent makes up for it. So here's the main thing. So Oz. When you put Oz on the field, he does extra electro damage, right? So I built I don't really have good sets, so ignore that, but I just put on artifacts. Electro damage. So basically here's her build. It's just what I had lying around. So there we go. So here's the thing, Oz. You also have 6 constellations, but I'm pretty sure most people have 6 constellation Fischl. So when you throw down Oz, he constantly attacks with you, assuming you have the constellations. Constellation 6, he attacks with electro damage. You build him and you build electro damage, so he does quite a decent amount. But here's the kicker. Her talent, undone by thy sinful hex. With Xingqiu, you do electrocharge all the time. And then with this talent that gets unlocked when you ascend her to level 70, if your current active character triggers an electro-related elemental reaction, so basically Xingqiu with Oz and with Raiden Shogun's E that constantly procs, you constantly proc electrocharge. So if your current active character triggers an electro-related elemental reaction when Oz is on the field, the opponent shall be stricken with Thundering Retribution, dealing electro damage equal to 80% of Fischl's attack. So whenever electrocharge procs, so electrocharge also bounces if you didn't know, if there's a group of enemies close together, and this doesn't have a cooldown. Like a lot of other things had like, I don't know, they can only apply every 3 seconds or half a second or whatever. This doesn't have a cooldown, so every single time electrocharge procs, all the enemies that have electrocharge on them will get hit by another hit from Oz that does 80%. And is electro damage, which will also proc electrocharge. Electrocharge does have a cooldown, but that's fine. And then Oz is constantly attacking with you, and Oz is hitting on his own. He also does his own attacks. So I basically all this extra damage makes up for all that, that attack boost that you're missing, and you don't really have to worry about any micromanagement. You just throw Oz on the field, throw down her E. If Oz is gone, use her elemental burst. If Oz is gone, this is probably back off cooldown. So that's why I think she works very well. Her constellations, mainly constellation 6. Oz is constantly attacking whenever you attack. So every time you attack, Oz will also attack, dealing 30% of official attack as electro damage. It's pretty good. Anything else to speak of? Just more explosions. More explosions. Okay, yeah. So basically that's it for official. But just that alone, you don't really have to micromanage anything. And with the two electro elemental resonance, it gives energy back faster. I think that's already way better. You could also, if you really want to, switch official out for Bennett, and then you can have Bennett's Q, or Bennett's Elemental Burst, which gives attack bonus, but then you're gonna lose out on the Electro Resonance, which gives energy. For the Raiden Shogun, I don't think there's much to talk about. She's pretty strong. I like her. I was able to get. I actually got pretty lucky. On her banner, if I show you the history, I won the 50-50 twice. So here I just got the Raiden Shogun. Let's see how many pages it took me to get 3. So Constellation 2 Raiden Shogun. I stopped there because I'm basically out of Primo Gems. I saved up like what 35k Primo Gems and I used it all. So I got pretty lucky, I guess, to win the 50-50. Three, not 3 times, twice. The first time wasn't a 50-50. The first time was guaranteed Raiden Shogun. Oh, there it is. So 25 pages. Let's see, 24 times 6. So 72 plus 72, 144, 144, 145, 146. So 146 summons. Not bad for 3 Raiden Shoguns. And I won the 50-50, so that's pretty good. And yeah, I have the Raiden Shogun, but basically, the way I have her built, I don't have her built like most people do. First of all, I basically don't really have her weapon, which Primordial Jadewing Spear is fine, crit rate, really high base attack. So her build is pretty much what I had lying around as well. So Gladiators and Shimenawa. So both attack percent. That's why her attack is so high. Her base, or just not base attack, but basically her attack is so high. Let me show you her stats. This is without any buffs or food. So I have 2,424 attack, which is pretty high, and that's, mind you, before the Primordial Jadewing Spear's passive. So 7 stacks at 3.2%. That's like what, 21 something, 22% or something like that. And then if I'm at 7 stacks, I get another 12% more damage. So that's already pretty good, pretty strong. So I'd get even more attack than this when I'm actually attacking. And my damage is increased by another 12% when I'm max stacks. Elemental Mastery, this is just, it helps with Electro Charge a little bit. My crit rate is pretty high, 75%. And then my crit damage is 159. It's basically at the 1-to-2 ratio, more or less. And with the high crit rate, I crit quite a bit. It's pretty nice. Energy recharge is quite low compared to most people's builds. It's only at 160, and I think a lot of that actually came from her ascension, because you get elemental, or you get energy recharge from Raiden Shogun's ascension. And I have electro damage 70%. So let me show you her artifact. So again, Gladiator Shimenawa. So here's her cup, pretty good. It's actually really good rose. This is pretty good too. Her feather's pretty good. This one is okay. I had to switch to Shimenawa. Like, if I wanted the set bonus, I had to, I haven't really farmed them much, so I don't have that many of them. I would have preferred the Emblem of Severed Fate one, but I literally don't have anything with that set, so Shimenawa it was. So yeah, I'm lacking crit rate here. I would have preferred crit rate over, like, I don't know, Elemental Master or something, but this is what I got. Energy recharge is nice. Attack is nice. This is fine. It wasn't anything to write home about. I would switch this out if I actually got something better, but I don't. And then I also wanted the step bonus. I could probably use... Yeah, I don't have anything. Okay, so electro damage, crit rate. I don't have a crit damage piece here. Energy recharge, so it kind of worked out. Energy, I get quite a bit of energy recharge. I made sure her pieces had energy recharge subsets. And then her last piece, crit damage, crit rate, attack. So yeah, no energy recharge, but I need a Shimenawa set. I need a Shimenawa piece, so this is what I had. I guess I could have... I've never farmed the Electro dungeon, so I don't have the 2-piece Electro. I could have used Noblesse. I didn't have a... Well, I mean, I have one here, but I don't have a piece here, so... So that's it. Let me show how... Let me talk to Neko first. And then I'll show how my team currently works and how much damage this team does. I think it does quite a bit. Especially with Constellation 2 Raiden Shogun. I wouldn't mind Constellation 3, but I don't have enough to actually summon for more. Let's go to... I guess I can show it off first with the Pyro Regis Vine, just without Raiden Shogun's Elemental Burst. So without her Elemental Burst, her first 2 constellations, Constellation 1 and 2, doesn't even apply. So this is my build without... The reason why I like this build is because I can do damage without her burst. And most of the time I don't use her burst. In the open world, I don't need her burst at all. I only use her burst when I actually need it, which is very rare. So our first volunteer. So here is why I don't need her burst. She basically does enough damage. I'm just holding down the attack button. She can kill it easily with Fisho and Xingqiu. So let's go to the Primal Geo Bishop. Do I have her burst up yet? I almost have her burst up, basically. Okay. So let's go to the Primal Geo Bishop and show off her burst damage. Her burst damage is where it gets pretty nutty. So I almost have full resolve stacks as well. I just basically need to Elemental Burst with Xingqiu or Fisho, and I probably have full resolve stacks, so that's maximum damage. Let me kill this guy real quick. Or not. In my opinion, her burst is similar to Eula, where in most cases you wouldn't need her burst, and then when you do, it's there. It does a lot of damage. But with Eula, it's much more involved for use, or at least it's not as easy to use. Let's get her resolve stacks. Get my energy back. So this is the Raiden Shogun with burst. And that's over. So I did about more than half, like 2/3 of his HP. Yeah. So that's the current team. I could probably do more if I switched out Xingqiu or Fisho for Bennett, or even Zhongli for Bennett. So yeah, in this team, or at least with my current Raiden Shogun build, I do sacrifice for elemental burst damage for her damage outside of elemental burst, but I think that's a pretty worthwhile sacrifice, at least for my current team, my usage of her, and I don't have the artifacts anyways. So I guess that's it. This was supposed to be meant for me talking about how bad Sara was in my team, but I guess I kind of rambled on. Thank you for watching, guys.